Hey everybody, welcome into the show. Wow, John, that was a really cool animation you had set up this week. Ingenuity
Yeah,
Helicopter, man, I love that thing.
Ingenuity Whirlybird is getting better
I'm so,
every time. That was looking pretty cool. With the 3D printer as the pilot, too. That's a nice touch.
I do have to point out because it's a running thing, guilty bystander.
Yeah.
I like it.
Because you always hear of the opposite. Everybody's an innocent bystander. And I'm guessing, something happens and they'll be like, that guy's innocent, that guy's innocent. And that guy was a prick. He does whatever he got, he deserved it. So just flip of an old classic. Just the other side. Someone who's like, yep, had it coming.
Well, how are you doing today, Kirk?
I'm doing good. I got my first vaccine shot last week, so it's been like a week, and guess what? My arm hasn't fallen off, so no side effects for me. Just saying, it hasn't killed me, so
That's
I can
good.
recommend it thus far.
Word. John, how are you doing?
It's been a busy week again. Doing a
I
lot.
second that.
Yeah. That animation was a lot trickier than I thought it was going to be.
No, it turned out really good though. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch. I almost missed the intro again. Your stupid animations do that to me every week.
In fairness, yeah.
I think he's distracting. You should do live animation one time just to see if your wrist can go that fast. If you can draw at actual speed.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
Okay, well, not with that attitude.
Well, I feel like we got some good stuff lined up again this week for the show. First off, I want to talk about that helicopter, aka the Mars Whirlybird. We got to see it fly, and so I didn't have to shave off my goatee, which is good for, well, the human race. But it did successfully launch and fly to its predetermined 10 feet, hover for a few seconds, and land. Really cool to see. Happy that it happened. And now they have successfully flown for a second time, which is even cooler. They pushed it to 15 feet for the second run and had it kind of fly over a little ways and then come back. And they have another flight set up for tomorrow morning that is essentially going to go up all the way to I believe 16 feet, which isn't much higher than the second flight, but it's going to push the envelope to a 60-second flight, and they're going to try and get it to go further one way and then come back.
I heard the main problem they're having is finding a movie short enough to show on the 16-foot flight, and they just haven't figured that out yet. Once they get that locked down, they're good to go.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't even feel like you need peanuts for that one.
No.
Right, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, but the main motivation for them actually getting it off the ground was so that Chris did not reveal more of his face. That's what the science that's without a doubt. It was like, yes, the technology, and it would be nice to do this, but more face coverage for that guy.
Save humanity from Chris's face.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Chris.
I'm really happy that the helicopter was able to help me out. Luckily, we did have the flight video too, and it was cool to see the picture that it sent back. I don't know if you guys saw that, but just seeing the tracks from the other rover as it was flying, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and just the still of it above the ground. Because at first it kind of looks like it's a top-down picture, and it's not. It's taking it from the air.
Yeah, no, and Mars is definitely red. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not communist. Maybe it's just embarrassed. How about that? That's a little less politically. It's I can't believe I let the rover on me. It's just, he doesn't even know me.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about, which was going into the 3D printing aspect of the, what we talk about, the Moxie system. John, did you see that they successfully scrubbed oxygen this week?
Yes, that was well, like I said earlier. I say that I was talking to you earlier this week. We've known it's possible. Just the getting the actual proof of concept and having it create oxygen on Mars is amazing.
Well, they had the system work and it created about 5 grams of oxygen, which is enough for a normal human being to survive on for about 10 minutes without doing any kind of activity. And I think it took like 3 or 4 hours for that to happen. So it's not exactly efficient for what we're trying to do as far as breathing on Mars, but it was kind of a novelty to see how they were able to do it, even though we're doing it here. And the reason I wanted to bring it up for 3D printing was because I found out that parts of the Moxie system was actually 3D printed, which I was kind of curious, so I dug into.
I was gonna say, when you say they're 3D printed, is it 3D metal printed or 3D plastic FDM printing?
Okay, so it's not FDM, it's actually metal alloy printing. Because the Moxie system has to run at, they run it at like 1500 degrees Fahrenheit to get the scrubbing going. So FDM would most certainly not work for that.
Yeah, it would be a little blob of plastic just sitting on.
So the
Mars.
3D printer is cleaning molecules into oxygen?
And no, they just essentially 3D printed the heat transfer box, which is what keeps it from melting. And they use a metal alloy printer to build this heat transfer box that keeps the heat from, like I said, melting the rover that it's attached to.
Yeah, just like with anything that generates heat, you have to gather it and displace it somewhere where it's not going to melt the parts that you're or that's generating the heat.
The interesting part, John, is I did find that they had to actually put it through another process when they did it, mostly because, as we've seen with a lot of our 3D prints, there's a lot of imperfection when it comes to 3D printing. And so they have to actually do like a nickel plating, acid wash, some kind of weird process just to make sure that there's no imperfections on the outside. So
wait, they're printing acid wash jeans? They're bringing them back? That can't be right.
Slowly but surely, Kirk.
Oh, and just what is in the corner there? What are we printing? Is that another space cup with the planets lined up, or what is that?
No, that is one of my wife's projects. And
she's making dinner. Okay.
Yes. No.
No. Plasticky good. Yum.
Yeah, no, that's just one of my wife's projects. I figured it would be nice just to have in the corner there.
I was going to say, John, as we've seen, there is huge advancements in the 3D printing world that we've seen, of course, but the metal printing, that's huge because they're even using those they trust it enough to send that into space and perform, fairly important projects on. So.
Well, and this ties back.
Yeah, they sure didn't send me. I applied. I was like, look, I can do whatever the 3D printer does. And they went with the 3D printer. So I'm still job hunting.
Well, and this ties back to our previous podcast where, and Chris, you'll have to help me with the name because I've completely forgot about it. Is it Relativity Space?
Yeah, Relativity Space.
Yeah, I mean, they're hoping to 3D print a full rocket.
Well, and I think they successfully have, or they've at least gotten most of it 3D printed.
Yeah, the big test will be a flight.
Yeah, launching it. But they've proven that they can launch this Moxie system, and it can, it could withstand space travel all the way to Mars, and it didn't break.
Which is always
Well, and
a good thing.
speaking of launch, like SpaceX, they launched another one, right? Isn't that what we were with the 4 new astronauts going to the space station?
Yes. Not only did they launch 4 astronauts this time, the previous one was 2. This is a reused Dragon. So everything but the second stage, which is the stage in between the Dragon capsule, which houses the astronauts, and the first stage, which is what gets it into space, was flown before.
Do you think there's going to be like a shelf life, or they're going to look, we're going to use like they're going to put a little tick mark and all right, when this thing hits 20, we need to get a new one? Like, do you? I guess, would you have a guess on, or is this kind of just limitless essentially until it? I mean, you don't want to use a rocket till it breaks.
Yeah,
that would be bad.
There is a built-in. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but the first Falcons, I think, were rated to and I'm completely going to get the wrong number, but they were rated to, let's say, 5 launches. The ones now are rated much, much higher because they've shown that after reusing or after landing and checking out the rockets, that the stress that's put on them is less than they thought. So the newer rockets, the Block 5s that they have a much higher reusability. I want to say it's 20. It could be 100.
Okay, so are they using? I heard they're using hypercolor technology, so it'll just change color when it's time to get a new one.
If only.
Yeah, it'd be a nice, easy. Hey, it's blue, so let's change that.
Clearly, yeah, this thing is going to break. A couple things I heard, like there's at the space station, there's going to be now 11 astronauts up there for a bit, and they don't have enough beds. So it's one of the astronauts is going to be sleeping on a space futon. You know what I mean? Like that's, actually, he's going to be in a Ziploc bag, a sleeping bag, Velcro to the wall, is my understanding.
I mean, that's how most of them sleep anyway. But yes, well, and that brings up a good point about the space station. Is it wasn't designed to still be flying.
Well, I heard they even installed the 3rd toilet, which, can you imagine how expensive a space plumber would be? They're like, holy cow, I don't have any. I'm doing some work in Jupiter in like a month, so I might be able to swing by, but it's just stay there between April and May. Sometime between 2 and 4, I'll make it.
And they never hit those windows.
They never do. It's like they tell you, but you're going to be waiting longer. Those damn space plumbers.
That caught me off guard. The other news with SpaceX is they still haven't launched the SN-15, which is unfortunate. As far as I can tell, I haven't been following it too closely because I'm more interested in just the launch and landing attempts. But I don't think they've even done the static fire yet. I could be entirely wrong on that.
You're completely wrong. So, all right, go ahead.
I saw a story on that today, actually, and they said that they had spotted the launch cone being transported to the pad. So,
well, I had another interesting one. The one that made it to the space station. One of the astronauts is a woman, and she actually sat in the same seat that her husband flew in the last mission. So, like, her husband's on the space station, and it's just, you two guys are married. Like, he has to be thinking, how far do I got to go to get a little space here?
He's actually not on the. Yeah, he's
What?
not on the space station right now.
No, he's not there anymore. Oh, he ditched her. So yeah, he can take it. I just hope they set enough food out for their kids. That's who I feel bad for. Hey, honey, we're going to space for a couple months. You guys, there's some Hot Pockets. Okay, got it.
Yeah, they actually did a photo op, and that was part of the SpaceX broadcast that I saw, where he was in the exact same position, saying goodbye to her with their kid that she was when he went up the first time, or in the first Dragon.
But he's back. He's back on Earth? Okay, I misunderstood.
From my understanding, he is.
Okay, no, you're the tech guy and you're the information guy. I think you have more credibility about space than I do, so I defer to you.
Fair enough. I mean,
Well, either.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, chiming in, that the fact that a husband and wife both went to space, I'm not sure how you top that. So,
I heard when the wife got up there, she was mad that the husband left it filthy. Clean up. Come on, honey. This is a pigsty up here.
Anniversaries are going to be a bitch. That's all I'm saying.
A little bit.
Yeah, how do you top that? Yeah. The third one is space travel. Really?
Mars.
That's a tough one to pull off.
Well, Mars. Yeah, that could be a good one.
Or back to the moon. I mean, that's logistically our next stop.
That's so cliche, but it's made of cheese, and cheese is fancy, so you got a point there.
I feel like we need to educate you on the moon a little, Kirk.
That brings up a good point. Was the NASA contract that handed out? No, it was Friday, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember if we talked about SpaceX getting the contract to land on the moon again.
We did. That was last. Yeah. That was last week.
It had to get consent from the moon.
But they have Kirk. They have planned another trip to the moon by 2024, and SpaceX got the contract to do it. So they're going to send up probably a Dragon. I don't know if they're going to send a Starship, but
no, it's they're going to.
Okay, so it's the Starship they're planning on taking up to the moon, and they're going to have astronauts go up to the moon, which I'm pretty excited about because I feel like we're going to get some pretty cool pictures from that one. If we're getting stills from Mars, we might get video from the moon.
Well, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard it's because they're going back because Neil Armstrong, he left something, like a bottle opener.
I mean, he probably did.
Well, there's a flag. We know that.
They golfed. I'm sure at least they left the golf ball there. I don't think they wouldn't.
True.
Oh man, I shanked it. I gotta go get that back.
I did do some follow up onto it, and it looks like the reason that SpaceX won that contract was more so because they're the only ones that actually fulfilled the requirements for the contract. The other ones were either, I want to say they were over budget, or the stuff or the equipment that they were planning to use didn't fit the requirements, and would have taken.
Well, and we've also established that Elon Musk is a little crazy, so I'm guessing they just don't want to piss off that guy.
Possibly, doubtful, but
yeah, he'll send his robot cars to kill you. Don't want to screw with him.
Well, hey, Kirk, I'm gonna go ahead and let's toss it into your corner this week because we've got some more interesting topics to cover. But as always, I like to see what you got going on over there. So let's jump in.
Unfortunately,
all right. Well, what do we got? Fortunately, what?
I was gonna say, unfortunately, because I was working on the comedy tips segment, I did not change anything in this room, so the pizza's a little stale.
That's the big change. Okay. Next week there's gonna be flies attacking the pizza. Is what I'm guessing. That potato you're gonna don't hit that. That's a fire hazard. I'm pretty sure if you leave the potato there indefinitely, the indefinite potato bulb. Right. Well, last time, I had some sort of some basic like how to get on stage, essentially, for some beginning comedians. So I was kind of nostalgic, and I started thinking about my very first time on stage, and I was able to find my set list from some of the jokes I did. And my first time on stage was 2001 at the Tempe Improv. It was like October 10th. It was like a month after 9/11 because I figured the world was ready to laugh again. I gave it that, I was going to bring it back essentially with some comedy. So would you guys like to hear, like I was a 21-year-old 2001 comedy. So MySpace, pre-Facebook, social justice, Me Too hashtag. So just a different time. Do you guys even remember 2001?
Oh yes. Very vividly.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys would like to hear that, I will tell you some of the jokes, and if any of them strike your fancy, I'll give you time to chime in with laughter or comments if you need to. So, okay, so here we go. So I had about 4 of them here that I'll tell. The first one was okay. All right, you guys got to clap. Can you clap? Can I get some applause? Give it up for Kirk Lookout. You guys didn't clap.
I did.
I'm waiting. I'm not going until you clap. All right, good enough. You guys work on your clapping. So yes, tell you guys a bit about myself. I was born in Toledo, Ohio, and after achieving all I could there and seeing all Toledo had to offer, I moved to Phoenix at the age of 2. Yeah, so pretty much I learned to walk and talk. Check. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of Toledo. So I grew up in Arizona. And growing up in Arizona, you love that air conditioner. That car AC is essential. I would drive a car that had no brakes. Before I would drive a car that had no air conditioning. You know, I would just be sitting mangled in the wreck, waiting for the ambulance to come pick me up, just chilling. Just chilling, just a little chilling in there. Actually, here's how you guys are good. You guys, I love my car AC so much. I'm going to name my kids after it. First kid, I'm going to name him Norm. And second kid, I'm going to name him Max. And I know as a parent, you're not supposed to play favorites. I think I'm going to like Max a little more. He's just going to be a little better, a little cooler. I just hope I don't have a third kid because I'm going to have to name him Vent, which he's going to have some anger issues. He's going to be upset about it. You know, there's my boy up there on the top of the building with the rifle just venting. So yeah, and then like you're in the heat, you sweat, and every deodorant commercials bother me. Like, hear me out. Every deodorant commercial you see on TV, they never put the product where it's supposed to go. They always put the deodorant right on your forearm. My question: how bad does your BO have to be if you have to start caking it on at your forearm and then working your way up to your armpit? I think that's beyond BO. That's BBO. You know what I mean? You might want to look at something called the shower, okay? And I know you don't know what that is, Chris. Actually, that's more of a PS. That joke I wrote 20 years ago is a PSA for Chris. That is perfect. That is wow. I'm like a Notre Dame. The foresight. Who knew? And John, you can explain to deodorant to Chris later, because he's mystified with that.
Gotcha.
Let's see what else. And then yeah, so I went to college, and every time I was on my college campus, there would be a walking tour in progress. You guys, you know, like where, you know, a college student would be showing around high school seniors to see if they want to go to that campus. And like whenever I'd see one of these tours, I'd always feel like an animal in one of those wildlife parks. You know, because they're giving the tour over there, and she's like, and over here, and shh, oh my, look, shh, over here we have an actual live college student. Don't startle him. Jeez, it's 10 o'clock. They are not up this early. They have you have no idea the drugs going through this man's system. He could snap. You have no idea. Put the food away. This man's been living off of mac and cheese and ramen, for he will take that arm right off. And then I saw one of the girls. She was limping, so I kind of went over and took a pass at her, but they shot me with a trank gun. So that was I forget I had to end that one because that was before Me Too. So you can't pretend you're a caveman picking up women. That would be poo-pooed now. Get a couple more. What else do I got? So could you picture the walking tour? I mean, come on. And then I was in that when I was working out at the gym, and when I was a college student. It was hilarious. I was working out. They put a new piece of gym equipment, and it was like when they put something new into the gorilla exhibit at the zoo. Like the muscle-bound steroid guys, they just couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? Like one of the younger, more aggressive guys kind of took a running pass at it, you know, and poked it with a stick. And then the silverback, he was I figured he was the old one. He had the back hair jetting out of his tank top. He went over and he actually poked it with a stick, and it moved it, and then it crashed down, and he ran away. And that's what that was Gorillas in the Gym. That's what that one was titled. Gorillas in the Gym. All right, so I got 2 more. So I was talking to my friend Jessica, and she was telling me she spent $80 on a bra. She wanted to know what I thought, and I was like, well, let me see it. She was all like, no, because that's the way they're always like, no. I was just trying to be reassuring. I was like, just be earnest and and heartfelt. And I was like, Jessica, it's not the bra that matters. It's what's inside the bra that really counts. I mean, ladies, spending $80 on a bra is like spending $80 on wrapping paper because they're both going to get thrown away and stuff inside is going to play with. So why bother? Um, I have one more, but it's a bit. I might have to save it for later. It's a basketball story. So I don't know. It seems like that's a decent sized set. Are you guys entertained?
No, I think that was pretty good, Kirk. I enjoyed all of those, and that was all your first set.
That was all. I ended up doing 20 minutes in front of 100 people, and it was a blast. It went really. It was a lot of fun. It was a good first start. It's sometimes it's better to bomb when you go up for just because so you realize it doesn't kill you. But if you kill it the first time, then the second time is going to be a big letdown. But hey, if that's the worst thing that happens, I'm okay with that. Just having that first rush crush is yeah, that was an awesome feeling. Good times.
I have to imagine it was pretty nice going back and reading that first set list and kind of getting those feelings back a little bit.
It did take me down memory lane. You know what I mean? Like it was. I was like, the funny part was like I was still in college, so I only had a handful of jobs. So a lot of my material I got from like the plethora of jobs I've had. So it was funny. Like I didn't have any substitute teaching jokes or any driving instructor jokes or any. It was just like, oh, that's looking back. It's like, wow, I hadn't really done that much yet. I was 21.
Sure. Yeah. Everybody finds that out. Well, I decided to take a little bit of your advice, Kirk, from last week, and I started writing down a set list. Just trying to write down some jokes and see if we can. Maybe I'll get together with you and we'll see if we can get up on stage. But I couldn't find a newspaper, so I guess I'll have to, look online, something like that.
You could go online. It's not, but you know what? Don't downgrade pen and paper. Just write it. All the young kids with the set lists on their phones, pen and paper. You want to be able to scribble and have an arrow and change stuff. Go old school, people. Don't walk up with the looking at your phone. Pen and paper, people. I'm an old curmudgeon, I guess.
Well, my pen and paper, which I do use, the only problem with that is the first paragraph I wrote, I immediately scratched out. It would have been easier to do on a phone because I could have just deleted it.
That's okay. I'm just glad you learned how to write. Let's just compare. let's look at the accomplishments. Let's not talk about the other stuff.
Hey, one step above a gorilla, Kirk. Just remember that.
One step. You know what? And it's step by step. Maybe I don't know. Maybe by the end of summer, you can get 2 steps. Let's shoot for that. Come on. Let's see. You know what? If we believe hard enough and clap hard enough, by the end of summertime, by September, Chris will be 2 steps above a gorilla.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Well, nice job, Kirk, on the first set list. I did enjoy it. And
thank you. Oh, and thanks for retweeting. You retweeted another set from like 2010 from like Monkey Pants. So you can find that on the Twitter handle.
Hey, anybody who wants to check that out, check out our Twitter at Relativity on Twitter. I did put out a link to one of Kirk's old sets. It's a little bit more adult oriented, so just be aware if you're going to go check it out.
Yes, it is in a bar. So pretend you're in a bar. So you're an adult, you're a grown up. So there might be 1 or 2 potty language, but it's funny if you like that kind of thing.
Well, now that we're out of Kirk's corner, John, I'm going to throw it to you because I do believe you are going to segue us into this next topic and
our weekly debate, or
our
discussion.
weekly discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully, it's
more interesting than aliens.
Yeah, well, you were so damn matter of fact. Do you believe in aliens? Yep.
Yes.
There's nothing more exciting than rehashing a show that didn't go well. So come on, guys. Let's live in the now. This one's going to be better, you see.
So, John, take it away.
Yeah. So this week, I'm sure you're both aware that this kind of ties in with our first debate, which was on automation. But self-driving cars have a plethora of cameras and all sorts of doohickeys that can, monitor the car. My thought is that as these cars become more and more prevalent, it's going to become harder for people who don't have the cars, just due to, I don't want to say being bullied off the road, but I think automated cars and self-driving cars are definitely going to work to push people who want to just drive off the road, or just drive their cars off the roads, not by crashing them, but just from insurance and other means.
So you think automated self-driving cars will be able to navigate the road better surrounded by other self-driving cars? Like a human being would, it's almost like a wild card X factor that they can't. Things would be safer if they were all automated cars because they know what they're doing. It takes the human randomness out.
Yes. They've even shown, and this was probably 2 years ago now, there was a video that showed how a normal street intersection would work if there was self-driving cars, because they're all interconnected and can talk to each other. They can go through the intersection without having to stop. One car slows, the other one continues, and it goes through seamlessly, or a lot faster than if there were lights or stop signs or anything like that, because the cars themselves don't, are all talking to each other. It's not like, hanging our head out the window and yelling at the guy coming across saying that it's your turn, you're going to go.
Right. Chris, back me up. The four-way stop is one of the, with indecisive people, is one of the most irritating, frustrating. Somebody clearly pulled up first and they just sit there and it's like, well, if you're not going to go, I'm going to go. And then they start to go. And then if robots could take care of that, because people are texting more, they're not paying attention, and it seems like they're getting more indecisive. It seems like you would just stop, go, boom, you get on with your life. And these people are so, I would be for robots taking care of that.
Well, my thought is, I'm the old stick in the mud, and I'm like, that's cool because, those people piss me off who just can't figure out how to navigate a four-way stop. But I don't like the idea of giving up all my control to a computer because I've been driving for so long. I don't think I could let that happen.
See, and I fall into the opposite category where I'm like, if I could sit in my car and have it take me to work, hell yeah, I'm right behind that. I want it yesterday.
Well, it's like you'd have to talk down at, like you're talking to like your butler or your driver or something. I would feel like Miss Daisy.
And look like Miss Daisy.
Well, it goes without. You didn't. I mean, I'm a Southern belle. Yes. Hello.
But no, I think that the idea of self-driving cars, and you would probably see lower insurance premiums because theoretically you wouldn't get in as many accidents, and you could text to your heart's desire without having to worry about it because the computer is driving for you. But I feel like there's so many things that we have to look at as far as so you've got all these cameras looking at the road and communicating. You're getting a lot of data from that. Where am I going? Or, what are my habits while I'm in the vehicle? And all this stuff, it just seems like another way to track people.
So your computer, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Google searches, they're already sucking enough information out of you, and then eventually it's going to be cars with cameras. Essentially, whenever you step away from your computer, they got it covered. So it's like you're being tracked when you're on your computer, you're being tracked on your phone, you're being tracked in your car. That's the future.
Well, I mean, technically that's the now. I mean, my phone tracks my I don't want to say it tracks driving habits, but I can pull up any of my trips for the last 2, 3, 4 years and look exactly where I was driving on that day. I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but it's there. And I'm sure I can opt out of it, but at the same time,
I hot glue gunned a Polaroid to my hood. Is that that's the same level?
Shake it like a Polaroid, Kirk.
But
somebody actually that song came out, and I guess that's bad to do. And like the Polaroid people had to make an announcement: stop shaking it. Like, don't shake it. It's better if you don't. Like, because of that damn song, some PA guy or public relations guy had to tell people stop shaking it.
But like, I have my phone, doing my thing, but I drive to the same way back and forth to work every day. And one day I got in my car, and my car was like, "Would you like navigation to home?" And I'm leaving work. And this is a true story. I freaked out so much I turned off my phone. So that gives you a little insight into.
You were freaked out your phone knew where your home was?
Well, it knew that I was going to probably go home from work. Like, it's tracked my schedule enough to know that I'm leaving work, I'm probably going home. And that scared me, and I turned off my phone.
And that falls into well, this puts people into technically probably more than two, but two categories of, people that are okay with this and don't mind it, and then the people that, like you, that, it's not something you want or thought was technically possible. I don't know if you've used the newer Androids, but they have that like predictive algorithms in it. Like if I woke up every morning and the first thing I did was open Reddit, it would, I don't know if my current phone did it, my other phone did, but it would, in my list of apps, the first one I would pull up was usually, Reddit would pop up and say, "Hey, you want to open Reddit right away?"
No, and it creeps me out because usually when I'm getting ready to hit on the road, I open Spotify in the morning to listen to my favorite podcasts. And it started doing that on my new phone where it'll just like at a certain time I turn on my phone and it says, "Hey, I think you want to go to Spotify." That creeps me out.
Yeah.
So what's the creepy aspect is that you don't want the space satellites controlling the government to know where you are. Is that you just don't want, because the technology is making life simpler for you. It's instead of you having to search and scroll for your Spotify, it's going, "Hey, you want Spotify?" It's making it more. So I guess tell me what's bothering you about it.
The fact that my phone shouldn't know that much about me.
Well, it's a smartphone. It's a smartphone. It's what it does. It's a phone. It's smart.
Yeah, and it's not so much that it's it is tracking, but what it's doing is it's saying, "Hey, if you open Spotify every day at 9:00, after a while it's going to say, 'Hey, it's 9:00. Here's Spotify.'"
And you're going to be listening to Fuzed Relativity, right? That's what you pull up, correct?
Yes, I do.
Because you said your favorites, and it should be everybody's favorite podcast. Anyway, back to you.
Every Monday at 8 a.m.
Yes, every Monday at 8, I get to download the podcast and re-listen. But the thing is, it just seems like you hear about the nefarious things that people do with data and the amount of selling and money to be made with the companies that sell your data. It seems kind of fishy that they want to track your car. They want to, everything wants to be tracked. Everybody not wants to know what you're doing. Which now I'm thinking it's kind of weird that we're doing a podcast. But I digress.
I don't want people to know what I'm thinking. Anyway, here's what I think.
So, to bring it up to the nefarious point, and this is kind of where I started with the self-driving cars, I see your point. And this is where I think that if things aren't done preemptively, it could get bad. Because, as you brought up, insurance will be a factor. Now, technically, if you're in a self-driving car, who is insuring it? Because you're not driving it. The company that programmed the AI is driving it. So do they have to hold the insurance, or do you? And if it is the fact that you don't have to have insurance, then these companies aren't going to want just the random Joe citizen out driving their old car around, because that increases the chance that something's going to happen to the self-driving cars.
I heard all of the self-driving cars are going to fall under the insurance of Knight Rider. That could be. I could have made that up.
But
happens if, and that's a good point, because people will never get rid of their classic cars or their gasoline cars. And
you're right.
The old cool cars from the 50s, the Mustangs, or the fun cars to drive.
Right. And theoretically, if you had a car that was self-driving, you wouldn't have the ability to speed or do the things that you normally do. And so what are people going to do if there's an accident? And granted, there's a bunch of cameras on these things that could get a picture of what
or say you're having a medical emergency. Say your wife is having a baby, so you would probably drive a little more aggressively to try to get to the hospital, right? Or is that just a 50s cliche?
Probably just a 50s cliche, because 911 exists.
Do you call the ambulance? Do they just come pick up your wife?
Well, I mean, an emergency labor, sure. And if it was
it seems like you'd have to have a switch you could flip off or not flip off your car. Just turn the switch off to go, look, I'm going old school. I'll be controlling this. I guess that would be a fear I'd have, is if you go completely automated, is there a way to switch it back to manual in case there's emergency that warrants it?
Well, okay, so let me bring up this scenario. In this situation, if you said, if we got to the point of self-driving cars, there would probably be an emergency button that said, hey, I'm having an emergency, I need to go to the nearest hospital. It would probably trigger a response for an ambulance to meet you halfway there, potentially. So you wouldn't have, you're kind of taking out the middleman of your car's heading towards the hospital in the hopes that, and if it gets to the hospital, great. But if it's, if it's a true emergency, at some point an ambulance will intersect and you'll get care.
The ambulance could meet you halfway.
Yeah.
Or they could meet you en route. So then they could take it. It's like a relay race with your pregnant lady. She's here, you guys. You take her from here. Get her to the hospital. You got a siren.
Well, and in most cases, sure, emergency labors happen, but it's so far from the norm that most time when labor starts, it's hours, if not a day or more, before baby comes.
So it's not a surprise. You don't, it's not like somebody jumps behind a corner and scares them, and they go, "Oh my god!" and then the baby pops out. It's not like that.
No. What happens when your car is driving and Starbucks sends it a message, and it's like, "Hey, wouldn't you like some coffee right now?" I don't want to have to tell the car, "No, I'm good, man. I don't need coffee."
And see,
you don't want to have to negate the suggestions. You want to turn only this way. 1.8 miles, Starbucks. They're having a special.
If you look at, anything nowadays, that's already happening, and it's deeply rooted right now. Like if you have a smart TV, the fact that they play ads while you're looking for something to watch, why? You've already bought the TV. Why is it showing you ads while you're waiting for something else to come on?
It's the most annoying part, which is why I'm against the whole thing, which is, as far as the automation is concerned, with almost everything, I'm saying, I feel like we've got this pretty well figured out. Why are we forcing this? I mean, I suppose I see the insurance, self-driving cars, okay, they're gonna do a better job than us because you don't have all these wackadoos doing whatever they want. But it seems a little too invasive for the payoff.
Again, you're going to run into that same problem of there's people out there that want this, and they're going to push for it, and they're going to buy it as soon as it comes out, and you're going to have the people that don't want to. The problem is going to become when the scales start tipping and there's more automated cars. And what happens if you're driving your self-driving car and then you have someone who's, driving on their own fly past you on the interstate? What's to stop the company that's controlling not controlling, but collecting the data from your car saying, hey, this Mustang just flew past at, however long, and we've got pictures from 360 degrees from 20 different cars showing that they were driving, or recklessly driving, or something to that effect, and it gets pushed off to PD or something like that, where they start going after the people who are driving their cars and doing it in a reckless fashion.
Well, and I think the point that people keep saying, well, it's like, I assume in the dream scenario, the self-driving cars would then, instead of you being stuck for an hour in rush hour traffic, you could then be reading a book or doing that. But I think people are just going to waste more time on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like you're doing all these conveniences, but it's like you have the option to read or to, learn a new language or do something productive, but I doubt you will. Am I being negative there? I mean, it just seems like people are, it's like all these things give us more time, and people have less time, and they just play Candy Crush.
Well, and to an extent. So, I mean, this is a bad example, but the same could be said about going to the movie theater or going to a comedy club. You could go that way, or you could, read or do something else, betterment, or, self-betterment. Because, yes, playing Candy Crush from an abject perspective doesn't seem like...
It's a waste of time.
It seems like a waste of time, but you're still providing revenue to a company of employees. Same with, like, YouTube. You're watching a YouTube video, you're still providing revenue to... potentially providing revenue to that creator, or something to that effect. So I see what you're saying, but at the same time, and this kind of ties back to the automation of, if things start getting automated, what's going to happen? And I think entertainment's still going to be a massive push. And
right, well, it just seems like you're saving time to waste time.
Well, and
is my take on it.
And you're not wrong. It's just that if you look at it from what's a good way to put this? If you're not having to drive and you're using that time for something else, is it really wasted time? Because if you didn't have that time and weren't reading that book or watching that video or whatever, you would be driving. And yes, that's not technically wasted time, but you're not getting anything out of that time.
There's nothing, but yes, stop and go traffic to a job, just kind of, it's a time waste. Unless, I mean, you listen to podcasts or a book on, CD or something like that. But yeah, it's well, and I don't know, I consider that wasted. I mean, you're getting to work, but.
Well, and it's if you look at it from like, sure, you're wasting time playing a game or watching a video, but you're not, I see it as a stress reduction because you're not, worried about driving. You don't have to worry about if some idiot over you or next to you is going to cut you off, or, you have to slam on your brakes. Because if your car's doing it, you don't have to worry about it. And then on top of that, you also get entertainment while you're, having to go from point A to point B. Or, if you're driving to your job every day and it's an hour-long drive and you don't have to do anything, but you could sit there and, waste some time or play a game or, watch a video.
Can I bring in old man Chris here? Do we need to be damn entertained all the time? Can you just be alone with your thoughts? Is that so wrong? You know what I mean? Just have nothing going on. Is that the worst thing in the world now you can do?
Well, it's kind of funny, Kirk, because you say that old man Chris to come in, and I'm going, that actually doesn't sound so bad, because I'm thinking like, if you're not having to focus on the driving thing and you don't have to worry about all the idiots on the road, that actually might not be too bad. I don't like the implication, but the thought of being able to watch a video or read about the helicopter or...
Wait, come on, old man Chris on the farm, raise the family, do the thing, is going to give up his driving privilege and trust other robot drivers. I see there's a section of people that they want to do it themselves and they don't trust the technology, and so they would, I don't know. I don't think they would rather drive than play on their phone to kill time while they're driving. I think they'd rather be engaged with that. I think there's a section of an age group, and I maybe 20s and under is completely different, but I think there's a kind of a crusty population this is missing.
Oh no, you're absolutely right.
And don't get me wrong, Kirk. Once again, I don't like the idea. I was thinking about it from a perspective of, like, my commute to work is like 40 minutes every day to and from. I'm thinking, man, what could I accomplish in 40 minutes without having to focus on the road? I could just focus on whatever I want.
Well, and that's 40 minutes one way. So you're looking at, almost an hour and a half a day that you would save. Or
right,
be able
and
to use...
I could look at, work on my Blender for getting the 3D prints that I want to sell. Or I could do, watch a movie, because who doesn't want to watch a movie? But my problem is, where's the line? And especially, like, we talked in the last automation debate about people losing jobs. And I feel like the more robots we get, even just driving cars, it's going to affect the amount of jobs that there are. How many insurance agents are going to lose their jobs because we don't have to have an insurance policy? You know what I'm saying? It just
and the robots never pick up hitchhikers, so that's a dick move. We got to factor that in too.
Well, and that kind of ties it all together. Well, kind of ties it all together, but just in this instance, like, Chris kind of flip-flopped from, no, I want to drive, to, you know what? That wouldn't be all that horrible. Especially for, like, you start off with, if I only did it on my daily commute, I could do so much more in that half hour, 40 minutes drive. And then as you get more and more used to it, I just think the need for manually driven cars will just continue to decrease until it's being forced out by, the automated cars reporting stuff.
Well, I guess my final point, or my thought, is just basically, I want people to respect the amount of ingenuity and technology it took to give you a self-driving car. Respect that and do something productive with that time. Don't twiddle on your phone and just kill that. You know what I mean? Like, you got 40 minutes back, or 40 minutes back in your life that you could do anything with. Do something that you want to do, as opposed to kill time playing a vapid game.
Well, and I like I said, I see your point, but at the same time, being on your phone doesn't necessarily mean, wasting time. Because most of all the animations that I've been doing for this channel, I didn't come up with those on my own. I've watched probably close to 100 hours of Blender tutorials at this point.
Right. So you're exactly. So you're absorbing tutorials. You're absorbing information that you have a passion about. Beautiful. That is, I would, not to be, I'm not the judge of good or bad, but I would put that as a good investment of your time.
But at the same time, like, I'll play it. Well, I don't play games on my phone. I don't find that at all entertaining. But, I guess I don't have a point there. But I could see where, if you're, listening to an audiobook or reading a book or something like that, there still comes a point where you need to break the normality and do something else.
Everybody's brain needs garbage time. Everybody needs their tabloid trash. They need a mental break. Yeah, right. You can't be doing it all the time, absorbing stuff. Maybe, half hour you're absorbing, and the other half you can give your brain a break. But I think just all of these really smart scientists people have made this technology. It's like I don't know, embrace it or something. I guess is my plea.
And in fairness, we're talking about what ifs and, the potential future, especially when it comes to self-driving cars, because right now they don't exist.
But we're also
they do. But
we're on a technology podcast talking about 3D printing, space, going to Mars, all this And you got one guy like me who's like, hey, stay off my lawn. Well, technology's coming whether we like it or not. And this is eventually going to be a thing. So
it just depends on, how it shapes out.
Yeah, as long as it's managed correctly and too many people don't try and take advantage of the fact that, it's a money grab or, even like Kirk says, just using your time in a productive manner rather than trying to just waste your time on, God knows what, looking at cat videos.
And they said back in the day, the old man would yell at kids to get off his lawn, and now the old man yells at kids to get off his Wi-Fi. So things have changed a bit.
Yeah, I don't want anybody on my Wi-Fi.
It slows it down, right? It clogs it. Get your own damn Wi-Fi. By the way, does the space station have a Wi-Fi password? Are they that? How paranoid is that someone's going to break into the Wi-Fi at the space station?
I would assume not very.
Do you think I heard the password is actually nasshole? I thought that was uncalled for.
That's a good one. I like that. I'm going to use that password from now on.
That's good. By all means, just put a 1 after it if somebody guesses it. That's foolproof.
Yes.
I know we're getting close to that hour, and it felt like we could still talk some more about that, but I do think it's a good time to transition to our kind of off topics.
We're going off topic, just like we're going off roading. That's what I equate it with. We're going rogue. Off topic, people.
And we thought this week we might change it up a bit because it was kind of honestly a little bit of a crazy day. And I thought maybe we could just kind of shoot the shit a little bit. Just throw it around.
Did forget to show something, and I'm going to do it now. It should have gone in with the 3D printing, but a company that I don't know the name of because, I'm a great researcher, has started 3D printing glass. And I'm going to switch to this one, not Kirk's Corner. There we go. I can probably make this a little bit bigger here. Bear with me. Oh, that was the full size.
Now, that is not crystal meth, correct?
No.
It's a different type of glass. Okay.
So the whole concept behind this is, and as you can see, it's liquid glass. And it works very similar to an FDM printer, which layers out the plastic, except it obviously has to do it a little bit differently because glass, when it's in this state, is a lot more fluid than plastic would be.
Is that the table? That's the table moving
Yes.
underneath it. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. So what it's doing now is it's layering down, layers of glass, and it's gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna speed up here a little bit, and
it looks like a glowworm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And this is just like regular. This is very similar to the 3D printing like me and Chris do.
Except... slow it down. I'm getting sick, dude. I'm going to Ralph.
Yeah, I was going to say
that. It's spinning. Quit it.
Probably not the best here, but otherwise it would take, this video would have been like an hour. But just the fact that, 3D metal printing is coming. They have viable 3D metal printers. Now we're getting into 3D glass printing. And
I'm going to recommend don't touch that hot end.
Yeah. I would assume it's growing or glowing like that because it's a little bit hotter than ours can do. And I'm also assuming it's ceramic.
If you do it incorrectly, I believe you can make stained glass as well. So that's a little extra bonus.
Cool, though. I mean, they're starting to change the amount of materials that they use to 3D print, which we can safely assume, the plastics are going to morph into glass, which will morph into metal, which will eventually...
Well, there's concrete, too, for houses. I mean, yeah, amazing amount of stuff.
Yeah, and it's only going to keep getting better and better.
What about nacho cheese? That's what I would love. Just a nacho cheese extruder. I make a lot of nachos, and sometimes I don't have the time, so that would help me out.
Chris was talking about 3D printed meat not too long ago.
Meat and cheese, they're good. They go together. Throw some potatoes, you're good to go. Don't have to eat, and you don't have to eat any vegetables, which woof.
And PLA is kind of made of corn, so there's your. See, we got nachos. We're good.
Sweet. 3D printed nachos. That would be okay. So we'll work on that. You make some 3D printed nachos, and I'll bring some microbrew.
So
okay. Yeah, Chris, do you have something? Do you have something off topic? Because I have something. It's off topic. It is not on topic.
I actually do. I was gonna complain about my computer for a second because we found out in episode number 1 that my computer was
a garbage.
It was
can?
old.
Toaster.
It was a toaster, but I had to order a new one because So I ordered a new one, and apparently there's a shortage because of pandemic or whatever of all this stuff. Well, it took a month and a half, and my computer finally shipped, and now it's lost somewhere. And John just had that problem with his 3D printer
Twice. Because I had my 3D printer that's on screen was delivered to the wrong place. And then, I never even talked about it. I've got a CNC machine now. And for whatever reason, that was just sitting in Colorado Springs for 3 days. And, never got to me. Well, it did now,
right.
But...
Everybody dance now. Sorry, if you said CNC, somebody had to. Okay.
And I don't, it finally shipped, right? And so I'm like, sweet, I'm going to finally get my computer and everything's going to be good. I can work this 3D modeling software so much better. It's supposed to be delivered on Thursday and it's still sitting in God knows where. And it's the same company that John's been having problems with. I don't want to, name names, but it might rhyme with Med Rex. Just saying.
It's a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur?
Yes.
It is a dinosaur, and
You might be fed up with them, is what you're fed up with that dinosaur, is what you're saying?
I've got issues with that dinosaur because, come on, people. It's not that hard. Let's just give me my computer. Okay, I had to get that off my chest because they keep pushing my delivery date back, and you know what? The quality of my stream might just get a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so give this man his computer, damn it.
Yes.
Or he's gonna take his podcast and go home.
Yes.
But he's home already. He's already halfway there. Oh man, he's way ahead of the game.
But also, I was going to throw out there now that I got rid of that because, it was just pissing me off this week. But I saw a video that kind of cracked me up a little bit. There was a track meet somewhere, and there was one girl who was very in the lead in the track meet, and somebody's dog got loose. And the dog actually caught up to the girl who was running and totally won the race. So kudos to that dog. It was really fast.
That happens frequently.
Four legs against 2. So you got to give it up for the dog.
Like you'll see it where they're running a marathon and a dog joins just like, shortly after the start and then finishes.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. The dog was really quick.
Marathon, any side effect to the event where it's like bloody nipples is not for me. I'm out. You know what I mean? If that is even on a possibility, I'd rather not.
Yeah, no, I'm long past those days. I used to be a cross-country runner, so I'm familiar with that.
I never got here's the thing, because I played basketball, and when you would screw up, punishment was running. So how does a cross-country coach punish you guys? You're already running. Is it do you have to sit down and think about it? He doesn't let you run?
No, more running.
Yeah, more running.
It's always more running.
The punishment is more of what you're doing.
Yes. It's
Okay.
usually just meant to be faster, or like I'm a cross country runner, so the punishment usually was like sprints or something to that effect.
Wind sprints now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make this terrible activity somehow worse.
Right.
Well, what do you got
Okay.
this week, Kirk? What's going on
I'm
over
going.
there?
I'm going way off topic, and don't. It's in the news. I saw that Biden has it's almost a $2 trillion plan for infrastructure, and I found that interesting because a lot of it has to do with green energy and helping the environment, and just the technology, the innovations. So I was interested in that, and I'm not. I think the stat is actually they're trying to cut down on methane from emissions from cows, and they're going to be spending 7.8 billion out of the 1.9 trillion on cutting down cow methane, and by 50% in a couple of years. And I'm just concerned because if you cut down cow farts by 50%, then more people are going to be able to smell Chris, because that's, I think 50% of the cow farts are covering up his odor, and if you remove that, then the whole country is going to start complaining about that. So just, I know it's good for green energy, but just beware. Be careful what you wish for. John, back me up here.
Yes.
So I'm saying right now, a slaughterhouse full of disgusting slaughterhouse, that smell with cow farts is covering up Chris. But if you remove that, it just exposes it. Like he's a little funky. Chris, how funky is he? Can you say how funky is he?
How funky is he?
How funky is he? James Brown came up to this man and said, "You're a little funky." And James Brown has been dead for 15 years. So the rotting corpse of James Brown had to hold his nose when he was around Chris. That's how funky he was. So that was a long way just to viciously rib kick Chris, but it kind of was a little off topic.
Well, you know what? You started that. I kind of, as soon as you mentioned cows, I'm like, it's going to be a Chris joke. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, but they do have a way to reduce methane, and I think it was seaweed. Feeding cows seaweed reduced methane a ton, and it turned out to be cow or Chris joke. So yeah.
And Chris has been silent on that. He's been silent but deadly on this topic. He's not even commenting. He's so offended.
I appreciate that, Kirk. I'm really glad you could throw that out this week on.
You know. I thought it was a nice little setup and kind of a roundabout way to just make fun of you for no reason. I thought it was a good way to kind of close out the show.
It was a good one.
Anytime I make fun of you, John is all for it. So I knew he'd be on my side.
You know what? I'm a good sport. I can handle it. And
way to take a joke. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, we will. The cows will be happy because now everybody will be like, well, we can't have that as a. So now they don't have to change their diet because they don't want to have that as a repercussion. So they're just going to leave the cows alone.
Okay, so that's just, you know what? That's an interesting message. That's just leave the cows alone. That's a good. That was my prom theme, which is a little odd.
Hey, cows are decent people, Kirk.
Give me 3 ways that human beings are better than cows. You can't do it. It's right there. I mean, cows never go on, I don't know, a mass stampeding. Oh, anyway. I don't know where I was going with that one. Let's wrap up the show. Let's play baseball, right? That's what we're doing next. We're the first what MLB 2021, I guess.
We got MLB The Show 21. Came out on Xbox for the first time in a long time. And we have been teasing this for 2 weeks now. So we will be doing our big reveal, which is we will be playing a game tonight, which is cool. And Kirk himself will be announcing this game. And it should be a load of fun. Who knows what Kirk is going to say, but he is going to be the play-by-play announcer for this stream. And, well, we don't know how it's going to go. We had a tune-up game. It went pretty good,
Horrible.
But hey, I thought
these two chuckleheads. It's these two chuckleheads playing, and I'll be announcing. And making fun of them when they throw like a girl.
Yeah.
I do hope everybody does come across and come watch us on the stream. It is, I think it's going to be worth a, it's worth a watch because I like baseball and I'm good at it. John, I did beat him last night and he was a little bit sour about it, but he did pick the pitcher who threw. Yeah, his pitcher got like 17 strikeouts, but I won 7-0 or 3 or whatever it was. But
a lot of dingers.
One.
All right, well let's wrap it up and move to the baseball. Let's stop stalling. Let's wrap this puppy up and go play some baseball.
Well, guilty bystander, aka Kirk. Always happy to have you on the podcast, John.
Yep.
Good animation. Really like the ingenuity. Hopefully, you can top it next week. No pressure.
Listen, I learned a lot. Hopefully, everybody did too. Learned the new animation. You learned something new, and you're going to watch some baseball. What a great Saturday.
And hopefully, robots don't come across too fast because I'm not ready for it. And screw them for a little while. Anyway.
Screw robots, everybody. Good night. See you later. Elvis has left the building. Screw robots.
Hopefully everybody comes and catches us on the stream. And if not, have a good evening. Thanks for showing up.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Night.